my point, or my starting point, came in April of 2016, when Solo Sandeng and the like came out, and then were asking for reforms, electoral reforms, and that led to his death. From then on, I think it was an awakening, a rude awakening for every young Gambian. Either you've voiced it out or not, but this was the time that you actually knew that this was it. It was now or never, especially knowing his children, especially Sandeng, Fatmata Sandeng, who was so close to most of us. Now you knew that it came closer to you. Now it's happened to somebody that you sit around with, you joke around with. So it was like, it's either you do it or you don't. And we just had to do it. So April of 2016 was the point for me that I just had to speak out.
I'm not one for elections, basically. So I've been in speaking out against the regime of Yahya Jammeh for like a decade, and because I felt that it was wrong, that people's rights and freedoms should be curtailed. But when December 2016 happened and we saw the unification of political parties and the need for Yahya Jammeh not to get a fifth term, because it will be a genocide, it will be something very severe and serious, I have to let go of very many principles so that we could do this. So that sparked my interest, because I wanted freedom for my people. I wanted liberty and liberation for my people. So I was like, why not? Let me jump on the bandwagon. But I had a prior history of struggle against the presence of Yahya Jammeh's regime.
Myself and a group of friends, we had a strategy that we did when we were coming back from university, because from Westfield to Birkama was sort of a 30-minute drive. So we were in a commercial vehicle, and then we came up with the idea of why not talk about politics in the commercial vehicles. It was something that was really risky, but we just had to do it to make people participate in political conversations. I remember somebody like Keba Kante, who is now in Germany. We would start conversations, and then people would chip in. This was when we knew that, if we take it home and then take it to places, it would change a lot. Although so many people were not hopeful of Jammeh losing, even myself, I thought this was just going to be a shake-up. Like 2016 was going to be a shake-up, and then 2021 was when the actual change was going to happen.
I knew that there was a shift, like Emma was saying. And when Solo Sandeng was murdered by the state, I did a status update. I was like, this is the moment, and you cannot sit back anymore. I knew there was a shift that happened. When Lawyer Dabo and Co were arrested, there was another shift. And I realized this is the moment, and that this is everything, basically, that we have to do something now. We have to rise up. So they said hope is a very irrational thing, and it wasn't, we were hopeful, but at the same time, when you calculate the odds, like Yahya Jammeh being the demigod and being this creature, that monster that have hounded us, it was sort of, the only thing that kept us going was this irrational hope, this fierce grace, that we believe that something could change. Yeah, and I used to tell folks that even in the event that we don't win, the coalition don't win, there will be a shift in the political discourse, because it has sparked something. It would not be the same again.
I call the change in Gambia the social media revolution. This is what I personally call it, because it's a change that we saw what social media played, especially Facebook and WhatsApp. Although most of the people or people that have not been to school or that are not literate in reading and writing English, we were able to use WhatsApp groups, the forums, forums that we call in Gambia, and then send messages to people, because I remember making some voice-overs myself that were used and then sent to youths, calling on youths to take part in the elections. And social media, Facebook, I know Ali also would say a lot about that, where we did campaigns, posting pictures and showing people that this is actually your voice and this is actually something you have to do.
I think 2008, 2009, there was this thing that had happened. I think it was related to the media, and I wrote this a letter, Dear President Jammeh, through my old social media account that was closed, my Facebook. So it sparked a decade-long activism, or less than a decade, but so this was the moment. And so I started encouraging people. I was living here, I didn't run away, and I was speaking out consistently, and I was using every available social media account that I have had at that moment to do this, because I felt there was a need for that presence, and I was drawing inspiration and support from other social movements around the world that are occupying space and telling talking about the depth of dictatorships like the Arab Spring, the Jasmine Revolution, all these movements that were springing up around the world. I was like, we're not alone in this, and we can do this. It takes one person to be able to spark something. It took Solo Sandeng to awaken a nation. It took Layadabo and them to awaken a nation. So I was like, why not? But we were like a lone voice in the wilderness, trying to call on folks to get around together and let's do this.
To be honest, I didn't have any hopes when these guys came in, because my only target was to see them make policies and then level the playing ground for the next government coming in, because this is a transitional government. But even though we expect them to do the right thing, and one of the things that I expect them to do, or I want them to do, is to have a general overhaul of the Constitution. Because when we talk about systems are driven by things. And the Constitution, Jammeh made it in a way that it suited only him.
I think the biggest lesson they should learn is, most of all, is that power resides ultimately in the hands of the people. That it was the people who unseat Yahya Jammeh. They were the people who took him out. And that this sovereignty is not some theoretical discourse or a philosophical discourse. It is real. It's praxis. It's real. It's there. And this power keg that the people are is very fundamental. And they should realize that once they realize that when people speak out, when people vent their frustrations, when people talk about their inspirations, aspirations, and dreams, they should heed the call.